What's up guys, Sarah back with another video, and for today's video, which has been highly requested by you guys, I will be going over exactly how I bought my very first house when I was 18 years old. Basically, I'll be going over everything, so how much I paid for the house and go over, all the other numbers. Also, I'm going to give you guys some really good tips that helped me, so if you ever plan on buying a house or maybe even like a rental property, this video will be very helpful. So now that you guys have seen the house, which I hope you liked it, I just want to give you guys a mini backstory on me and explain how I was even able to get to this point in my life and be able to afford a house at such a young age. So I know there's going to be a lot of people that comment,
daddy's money, or you can't afford a house at such a young age, that's not possible.
But I honestly came from nothing and I am still shocked that I was even able to get a house at such a young age. So I did not grow up in the best situation, so my mom was the only one supporting me, and she came to the country as an immigrant. She didn't really have an education, so she had to start working minimum wage. But unfortunately, things are really expensive here and minimum wage can't really get you much. So when I was really young, I had to start hustling, and I wasn't actually able to get a job at a young age, but I would just do things under the table. Nothing illegal though, but just things like delivering newspapers or working for my mom's friends. But anyways, I know you guys are probably still wondering how I was even able to afford this house. So it all started back when I was 15 years old and I actually got a legit job, so I started working at Tim Hortons. So after working there for a while, I quickly realized that I honestly hated the job. I just hated the people and being bossed around. It was just so annoying because I was so young and people didn't take me seriously. So honestly, I was just like bored one day and I decided to search up on Google ways to make money online or just something like that, and I came across a couple things, but one thing I came across was starting my own online business. But anyways, I started the business when I turned 16, and let me tell you guys, it was awful for the first year. Like, I actually had no idea what I was doing and I was just wasting a lot of money. So all the money I made from Tim Hortons went to the business, but unfortunately I did not make any money, but you know what, I did learn a lot. So after a year of putting my blood, sweat, and tears into it, because I really worked so hard because I wanted to work, I decided that, you know what, it seems like I'm not able to do it myself, so I'm gonna get someone to help me out. So I finally decided that I would get a course, and back then there really wasn't much, but the course was okay. I don't think it really helped me that much, but I think what really helped me was I finally found a product that was in demand, so I started selling this one product. And this one product made me over $60,000, and I was honestly shocked, like I couldn't believe it. And so my second year dropshipping, I finally started to get the hang of things and I was able to start making consistent money, but it wasn't a lot of money, but I was still making some pretty decent money. So when I turned 18, I had about $70,000 to $80,000 saved up, and it was just chilling in the bank account doing nothing. So I decided that, instead of just letting it sit there, I might as well do something with it. So I used to watch Graham Stephan growing up, and he was all about real estate, so I wanted to buy my very first house, but I didn't have the experience behind me, I didn't have the credit, and I just wasn't ready to do it. So I decided that I would invest my money elsewhere, so I decided to buy stocks. So back in July of 2019, when I turned 18 years old, I decided to open up a brokerage account and I bought some Apple and Tesla stock. So if I'm being honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I just thought that it would be a safe place to park my money for now until I want to buy a house. But I did get very lucky because Tesla ended up doing extremely well. I think I was up like 400% on my investment. So I think I had originally invested about $60,000 to $70,000 in Tesla, and literally a couple months later it turned into like $290,000. So that was crazy to me. Like, I've never seen that much money in my life. But anyways, I decided that it would be smart to sell my position because Tesla was so high, and I decided that with that money I could buy a house. So I ended up buying the house, and I started out by just renting it out, and now I'm actually living in it. But yeah, that is basically how I was able to afford this house. And yes, I have to admit that I got very lucky with that Tesla investment, but obviously I wish I did not sell it. But anyways, I have been rambling for so long, so I just want to get into details now about the house and how much I paid for it, and also give you guys some tips. Alright, so the house was actually $400,000 but I obviously did not pay for that in cash. So I'm going to try to explain this and make it very simple for any beginners that are watching. So let's just say I want to go buy a house and the house is $400,000, but I obviously don't have that money. So what I can do is go to the bank and take out a mortgage, which is basically a loan. So I could be eligible to put 10% down on the house, which is only $40,000 that I have to pay up front. But then I obviously still owe the bank money, so what I would have to do is pay $2,000 to the bank every month, but for the next 30 years. So this was just an example for any beginners watching this, but I will actually go over the real numbers and how much I paid for the house. So when I bought the house, I decided to put 50% down, so I paid $200,000 up front. And so I still owe the bank money, so I'll be making payments every month to the bank for the next 30 years. But thankfully, my payments aren't very large because I did pay a lot up front, and also I just refinanced my mortgage, so currently I'm only paying about $740 to the bank every month. Now, the best part about owning this house, which I did not mention, is that I am basically living for free. So I am using the house hacking method, and how it works is you rent out a portion of your house to someone, and that person basically pays all your expenses. So how it works currently with my situation is this house has 3 bedrooms. So I'm in one of the bedrooms and there's 2 other females in the other bedrooms. So with everything included, those 2 females are paying me $850 every month. And so that money they pay me covers the mortgage and all the other expenses. So I am not paying the mortgage or any expenses, so they are covering everything. And for anyone wondering, I do want to break down the expenses. So here are all the expenses, and the roommates pay me $1,700 per month, so that covers all the expenses. So buying a house and using the house hacking strategy is honestly very smart because first of all, someone is paying for all your expenses, and long term the value of the house will go up. So maybe in 10 years this house will be worth maybe $750,000 instead of $400,000. Alright, so now that we've gotten all that out of the way, I just want to give you guys some tips and things that I think really helped me get the house. And just keep in mind, I am still a beginner, but this is all from personal experience. And I also did have a mentor helping me out, so everything I learned was also from him. So the first thing if you want to buy a house, which is very important, is your credit score. So just in case you've never heard of a credit score before, you can go ahead and check your credit score on Credit Karma if you want. But your credit score is very important because it's basically an indication of how responsible you are with handling your credit. So if you ever want to take out any kind of loan in the future, you want to have a good credit score or no one is going to trust you and no one is going to give you a loan. So if you want to buy a house, you ideally want to have your credit score over 740 to get the best rates. And if you're wondering how you can actually build your credit score, I will give you some tips that helped me. So if you aren't 18 yet, there really is not much you can do, but one thing you can do is if your parents have a credit card, they can add you on the card as an authorized user, so you can just ask them about that and see if they can do that for you. Now, if you're older than 18, there is a lot you can do to build your credit, and I will go over what I did. So what you want to do is get yourself a credit card, and you actually want to use this very responsibly. Now, as for how I actually built my credit score, I posted story highlights on my Instagram that I will show you guys right now. And you guys can follow me there. My Instagram is sarfinance, and I do post helpful tips on there if you do need it. And you also will be notified whenever I do post a new YouTube video. But anyways, here is the story highlights, so I'm just gonna click on tips. And here I explain why you should get a credit card. And here I give you guys the best options on which credit card is best if you are a beginner. And then here I give you guys all the tips you need in order to use your credit card wisely so that you can improve your credit score. And like I said earlier, you can use the app Credit Karma to monitor your credit score. It is safe, and that is what I am currently using. Now, the next step when buying a rental property is obviously to have quite a bit of money saved up. So you will need enough money for a down payment and a bunch of other expenses. So if your down payment is like $50,000, you probably want to have about like $75,000 to $80,000 saved up just in case. But if you also need some help with a down payment and it's your first time buying a house, you can look into getting an FHA loan, and this is for people who live in the United States. So basically the government can help you with the down payment. And if you live in Canada, you can look into the first time home buyers incentive, and it's basically the same thing, so the government can help you with the down payment. I'm not so sure about other places in the world, but you can just search up first-time home buyers incentive and see if there's anything in your area. Now, once you have enough money saved up to buy a house and you are ready, you can go talk to the lender or the bank, whoever's going to give you the mortgage, and they will be able to determine what you are eligible for. So they will basically tell you what house you can afford. And something they will want to see is that you've had a stable income for longer than 2 years, so maybe something like a job. And for me, unfortunately, I didn't really have that, so I had to get a co-signer. And for anyone wondering what a co-signer is, it's basically someone who will sign saying that if I can't pay for the mortgage, they are responsible to pay for the mortgage. Now the next step, which is also very important, is to monitor the market. So if you want to buy a house in a certain area, you should become an expert in that area. So that means you should be checking on that area every single day. You should always be looking at new houses. This way, when a good deal pops up, you will know it's a good deal because you've looked at the other houses around the area. Now the next thing I want to talk about is cash flow, and this only matters if you plan to rent out the property. So cash flow is basically the amount of money you keep after paying all expenses. So obviously when you have a rental property, you obviously want to make some money from it. So having that cash flow is very important. So for this property, it's not really cash flowing, I'm just breaking even, but if you were to actually buy like a rental property, you want to make sure that it's cash flowing. And it's recommended that you get anywhere from a 6 to 10% return on your investment. So if you invest $100,000 in the property, then you should be making anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 a year, and that is profit. So those are basically all the tips I have for you guys. These are tips that personally helped me, and this is what my mentor helped me with as well. Now I will say buying your first house can be intimidating, but if you get a good mentor or a realtor, it definitely makes things a lot easier. But anyways guys, that is all for this video. I really hope that this video helped you in some sort of way, and if it did, make sure you leave a little thumbs up. But anyways, I will see you in the next video, which hopefully will be next week.